So here's a little quick update video on the diesel. I might just take it for another little spin around the block just because it's sunny and nice out and almost kind of warm. So I haven't really posted any updates on this since probably December when I was working with the fuel lines and stuff. So it turns out the original, well, I shouldn't say original, but the existing aftermarket fuel pump went bad in this thing, and it was only powering up and no longer receiving fuel. So I had to get that replaced. I haven't done much other work to this myself yet. I just replaced the alternator on my own, but that was even before doing that, I think. It still idles really rough when it first starts. There's like some input shaft or something bearing noise, and then it sputters until I rev it, warm it up for like 30 seconds, and then it's fine. It's just kind of strange. See, now I take my foot off and it's fine. We're in the diesel. Where'd I go? Yes. Let's just try to get it out in the daylight if it's at all possible. Not exactly sure how far I want to back this out. Because the parking brake doesn't exactly work. Well, it doesn't really work at all, let's be honest. Gotta do this carefully because this car is also a standard. Okay, so she's just literally sitting in neutral right now, not going anywhere, and the parking brake doesn't work. So I'm lucky my driveway's on level ground. See everything in the sunlight, which is nice. So see, door panels aren't too great. And I tore the passenger seat out because I need to replace the blower motor for the heater and AC and all that. But yeah, I don't know if this is oil or what. This rear bench seat's all torn up. I've probably shown that already. Speedometer and odometer are dead, so some of the mileage could be unaccounted for. Who knows how many miles it really has. Shifter bushing is horribly worn. It's pretty terrible. Like, this is neutral. First gear. Look at that. Second gear sometimes misses. Third, fourth, fifth. It's hard to find reverse too. It's just, look at that. That's in gear. What else? I think these are still intact, so I might be able to put a head unit in because I still have one new in the box. Some material over the speaker grill there that's gone on the driver's side, and this is here. The panels are still kind of shot. And I took the steering wheel cover off to look inside because the horn doesn't work. I can't get these screws back in here too easily, so I just taped it on, and the tape's falling off. This is all torn up pretty bad. Look how nasty that is. It's just the seat portion of the rear bench. The back isn't too terrible, but it's kind of dirty and stained. And then this is all crazy back here. And the worst rust is under these speaker areas there. You can literally see the ground outside. And this side's even worse on the passenger side. Look at that. That's literally the tire down there. So that's the worst rust. To give you some idea, here's the speaker that goes right above here. So this looks like it was recovered from the Titanic. So that's a bit scary looking, but you know, folks, it's all about enjoying the process. Then we move on to the rear hatch. This rear hatch isn't original to this car. It was pulled off of Mercury Lynx, which is basically identical. There's one existing strut that doesn't work. This is a replacement one I tried to put on, but it doesn't have the same ball end or something. Some of the hardware may be missing. Nothing's wired up to this. There's no interior trim. And then all around, you've got just different rust. And then some of these door seals are dry rotted a little bit. Especially like all these. It still looks pretty dirty under there. I gotta figure out how to get all this apart so I can replace the blower motor, because it's all the way up in there behind this entire box here for the heater core. So it's like way down under there against the firewall is where the blower motor sits. This passenger side window does roll down, but it's kind of, I don't know, the window itself is kind of loose in there. I don't know why. Well, this seatbelt here is especially shot. I got my visors and then the luxury ones on the passenger side. And that's mostly about it for the interior, I guess. Headliner's not sagging, so that's not too bad. Just go for a quick spin around the block, I guess. These seatbelts are still shot. I have to keep pulling on it just so it retracts enough to be tight. Clutch is probably pretty worn too, because it kind of seems to engage almost at the top. Whoa, I'm like going in the neighbor's yard. Not paying attention. It's still hard to find reverse on this shifter. I'm just gonna go around the block since I'm filming with my phone here, because normally I'd have to use my phone for the speedometer app to know how fast I'm going. But 25 miles per hour on residential streets is usually somewhere in third gear. horsepower makes for a nice leisurely drive on a sunny day. Can't exactly show too much out the front windshield as a point of view, as I have the phone on the little dash cradle thing. My turn signal started working again after I replaced the alternator myself. And we also fixed the idle back in like September, maybe October. Not sure of the exact issue, but it was something related to a vacuum line. So we ended up pulling some of the small vacuum lines off and just plugged everything, and the idle went back down to normal. Going around the block, I'm still pretty easily disoriented, especially since I'm talking and making a video now, but it's fine. See, somebody's got their car parked right up to the stop sign. Just about. And sometimes it's hard to get into first when I'm stopped. Seems to be doing pretty good though. It's been running a lot better. It's been a lot easier to start. It takes seconds to start rather than minutes after having the new fuel pump put in this. Not sure if this is my street. I don't see a sign. But it is a nice day out here, so this is still fun. major issues it has. More recently I've noticed some uneven wear on the front tires. And also, the steering wheel is slightly cockeyed in the counterclockwise direction when it's pulling straight, so I'm sure this is going to need an alignment, although that could mean having to rebuild the entire suspension. If this is high mileage, which it is, suspension components could be so worn that you can't even perform an alignment until all that stuff's replaced. See how easily I can even get this back into the garage. This is challenging having my big car next to this. And I don't want to run into my snowblower. I guess we'll shut her down. Or we can give it some revs before we shut it down. Shuts off with a lot of conviction, like the shut-off solenoid. So that's a lot of fun. So we need to replace the blower motor, and I need to potentially get some help rebuilding the suspension if it needs it. I'd like to fix the parking brake. I don't know if it uses one cable or two. My dad had a 91 Ford Ranger when I was little, and that only used one cable on one side to the rear drum brakes. So yeah, there's that. Then I'd like to do something about addressing this rear hatch. And it not only do the struts not work, but it doesn't actually latch closed or even lock, and there's the lock cylinder's in here, but I don't know, there's no striker down there or whatever to make it lock or latch closed. As far as cosmetics, I'm not too concerned about the exterior. I just appreciate the original condition, and I'm not too concerned about all the dings and rust and the scratches and whatever. It's just original condition, and it is what it is. But apart from some of the rust and everything else, I mean, the paint still seems like it'll shine up, and it looks shiny already. I don't see any clear coat oxidizing or any of that. Then one of the previous owners put this stupid gauge on the hood that still bothers me, because it's still just dangling here through these hood vents. And this is like the oil coming through this copper tubing to tell me the oil pressure, and sometimes the gauge gets stuck if that line gets kinked or anything, and that's kind of annoying too. What else? Then there's something weird going on with the wiper. I should say the windshield washer fluid. There's like the two separate nozzles on the windshield here, and I only see one hose coming from the reservoir, and there's no hose connected to this side, and I see some kind of little spout thing on there where there should be a hose connected to it, but I don't see how you'd connect two separate hoses from the reservoir, or if it has to be teed off. But when I pull on the stock, the little pump makes noise, but it doesn't actually spray any fluid onto the windshield, and there's fluid in the reservoir from what I can tell. So I'm not sure what's wrong with that. I put new wiper blades on here. That wasn't a big deal because this is an old car and they're easy to pop off. And then also regarding the rear hatch, at least if I drive it in the dark or at night, I need some kind of rear illumination for my license plate. And there's a lot of rust on the inside, like even up in here. So I'm not sure if this is in the best shape, but they just probably got it from a scrapyard and pulled it off the Mercury equivalent of this wagon. I'm not sure what happened to the original tailgate or hatch from this car. Who knows if it was like rear-ended or if it just rusted out, or if somebody broke into it and smashed the window or what. I have no idea. So there's a lot of unknowns just given the age, and who knows how many previous owners there were. But it's still a good project nonetheless, and the rarity of the diesel is especially what kind of initially grabbed my attention. And hoping this virus is going to be behind us before too long, so we can start working on this. It's just kind of an endless list of stuff I gotta fix, and I'm probably forgetting half of the stuff I wanted to mention anyway. Also the the power steering pump is leaking because it makes weird noises when the fluid leaks. I usually have to top off the power steering fluid before I go on any longer drives. I'm not sure if you can even get a look at the uneven tire wear because it's too dark. And I just want to show some of this stuff in one video so I can get it all knocked out. Like if you look toward the outside, there's just a lot more wear, and there's hardly any tread pattern left, or tread left toward the outside. And then as you go toward the inside, you see how shallow it is here on the outside, and there's really not any tread here at all. This is looking pretty bald. And it's kind of a challenge to find tires for this that should fit these factory rims. But I also have, I think, 3 spare full-size rims. I say full-size, they're only 13 inches. But yeah, the seller I bought this from gave me 3 factory steel rims, extra ones, and then I have an extra donut spare. So the factory tire sizes to fit these rims are 165/80 R13 or 175/80 R13. And those are the only 2 sizes that'll fit. So there's not a lot out there as far as options for tires. So I got the camera flipped around in the garage now, and I have this replacement blower motor I ordered from Rock Auto. What I did was I unplugged the original existing motor, plugged this into the connector in the car, and then I cycled the switches on, and it's still, this new motor did actually power up, and the 4 different speeds all worked. So since all the speeds worked, I know the resistor in there is still okay. Because if you only have certain speeds that work and other speeds that are dead, your blower motor resistor could be bad, or the whole module or something in there. Actually, I should put this in gear so it doesn't roll away. See, that's still not too good. Hopefully that's in first gear. I had this car shipped here from another state, And there's some foreign guy, well, younger guy probably. I doubt he was any older than I am. And still about similar build, pretty slim. We had a heck of a time trying to unload this thing from a trailer, and it cost me too much money to have it shipped here just because there's no way to get a giant car hauler truck in this tiny, narrow residential street. So, yeah.